A new Norse strategy RPG is on the horizon. Slavic Folklore gets on an RPG system, and Roblox brushes off parental concerns. These are a few of the stories we have this week on the RPG Workshop Newscast for the week of March 16th, 2025. Hello, and welcome to the RPG Workshop Newscast. I'm your host, David Montgomery Blake. I've decided to move this to a weekly release, even though there will be less news segments. That'll also help with the limitations on putting in links in RSS feeds. But I wanted to do this because there are some cool things like Kickstarters or Humble Bundles or itch.io sales that often end by the time I post the 2 week segments. So moving it to a weekly format should help with that. I hope that I get everything out on time weekly, but we'll see how that goes. I'll try to keep up on it, but if I lag behind, send me some admonishment to contact@rpgworkshop.com. Also, if you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe on the podcast platform of your choice. You can also find RPG Workshop on X, Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky. So, without further ado, let's get to the news. There's not as much this week that I found, but here we go. Digital RPG News. The English cast returns for Trails in the Sky First Chapter, which is a remake of Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky FC Evolution, which was a remaster of the original Legend of Heroes Trail in the Sky. Confused yet? Me too. Anyway, the English cast was announced with the majority of them coming back. Some changes have been made for voice cast consistency across the series, like Matthew Mercer for Olivier Lanheim. Lost Eidolons, Veil of the Witch developer provided a new update which includes a trials mode. After clearing the first 3 acts of the game, a location called the Raven's Tower will open up so players can challenge enemies and bosses. Norse is a new tactical RPG from Arctic Hazard that follows Gunnar, a young hero on a vicious path of vengeance for the murder of his father. It features settlement building and a number of decisions that sound similar to the community management pieces of Frostpunk, as resources dwindle and rival tribes threaten the settlement. Tabletop RPG News. And before I get into the news stories, here are a few humble bundles you might be interested in. Humble RPG Bundle, Megadungeon Megabundle for 5th edition by Goodman Games. Humble RPG Bundle, Classic Pathfinder Megabundle 2025. And finally, Fallout the Role-Playing Game Complete Collection for Alchemy. All right. Next, it's the one story that I found for this week, and it's Zamanora Ballad of the Witch is a D&D 5th edition campaign setting based on Slavic and Balkan folklore. Dark forests and horrific witches keep the adventure lively, while a host of new player classes and subclasses based in folklore provide some interesting role-playing situations. The project went live on Kickstarter at the beginning of the month and has already surpassed its meager $20,000 goal. It's currently sitting at $214,000 at the time of recording. Game development news. And before I get into the majority of the game development news, I did want to call out some sad news. There are two obituaries that happened this week. One is for Dave Mallow, who voiced characters on the Power Rangers, Digimon, Street Fighter, Resistance 3, and Call of Duty. He's passed away after a prolonged illness. Also, Thomas Lee, Electronic Arts alum and strategic advisor, has died. He worked on Final Fantasy IX and Wing Commander 3 before taking on management roles at Nexon and Stealth Cross Media. And now, a little bit of good news. Split Fiction reaches $2 million in sales in 1 week. Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster sells over 5 million copies. Moon Studio Ori series tops $15 million in sales. Joel Couture interviews the team behind Caves of Qud, an IGF finalist for Game of the Year. The game was developed over the last 20 years and focuses on player engagement and choice in a fully developed sci fi setting. Go check out the interview at gamedeveloper.com. Roblox is no stranger to safety concerns when it comes to the kids using their platform. And their CEO, Dave Basuki, said it back to parents, saying that he trusts their judgment. And if they don't want their kids on Roblox, then they don't need to be on Roblox. In game engine news, live service engine developer Pragma has secured $12.75 million in funding. Their backend engine provides live service support to games like Spectre Divide and Seekers of Skyvale. Pragma services include cross platform accounts, monetization, live operations, and social features like matchmaking and player data systems. Moon Studios is now fully independent and has secured the publishing rights to their action RPG, No Rest for the Wicked. They now have complete control of the game to develop and release without interference or funding from a large publisher. And in a bit of sad news, this plays off of a report that I talked about last week. Zenless owns Zone Zero voice actors have been recast following participating in the SAG-AFTRA strikes. Many of the original actors came out in response to the company's desire to use their voices to train AI and eventually put them out of a job anyway. What I'm playing. Playing a little Metaphor Refantasio this week, and I'm really enjoying it. I like the archetype system, and I've been enjoying time with my allies. It is really what I needed to get away from the grind at the end of Star Ocean Second Story R and Dragon Quest III Remake. I did play some Dragon Age The Veilguard as well, and while I really like the characters and the story, I find the combat and much of the exploration rather boring. That's a lot of the core gameplay between story events. I'm just having trouble finding the desire to continue playing, since the majority of the game portion is so boring to me. Well, well, that's it for this episode of the RPG Workshop Newscast for the week of March 16th, 2025. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next week, keep playing and making the RPGs you love.